Do you have sympathy? That's one I just want to ask first. Can you understand why he is so upset?
I have sympathy with him on this one because I think it is a second yellow card. I think the fact that Diaz brings him down, you know, he says it's an accident, the referee whistles. So whether it's an accident or not doesn't matter. But I think he's away then, he's going to create a promising attack. You know, he will go forward, he's got space, he'll draw the defender. So I think that is a second yellow card, so I have sympathy there.
What about the timing of it, though, Jay? I want to ask you this before getting your opinion, because it was 18 seconds after the restart. Do you think that had any part to play in the referee's decision in his mind?
I mean, subconsciously, maybe, because obviously it's just, you know, it's kick-off. It's just happened. So maybe, but I think, I mean, we spoke about this off air, and I think this is, anywhere else on the field, I think this is just an accidental challenge. I don't think these kind of challenges should be yellow cards. But then Dermot explained to me that it stopped a promise and attack. So he's been booked for the promise and attack, not the actual challenge, which then I understand, because if he had stood on his feet, there was a player in the centre where it could have been squared to him, which would then obviously be a goal scoring opportunity. So I understand that part.
Hit the like button, please, people. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. We're looking back at two of the most contentious decisions of the weekend. First, involving Manchester City. Should Diaz have been sent off at the beginning of the second half? We're also looking at the red card tackle on Viktor Gyokeres. And look, there's one thing we push for a lot, I push for a lot, is consistency from referees. Now, and when I say that, sometimes it isn't important as to whether you or I think that it's a yellow card, it should be a foul, it's a bad rule, etc. We can debate that until the cows come home. That's one conversation. A separate and more important conversation is, are the referees officiating the games by the letter of the law? It doesn't matter if Sky Sports, Talk Sport, TNT Sport, the Sunday Times, Terry Flewers, Mark Goldbridge, Saeed. It doesn't matter if we agree or disagree with the rules. Until those rules are changed, they can't referee the game in any which way they want. There's a kind of set way to operate, a set way to behave. I didn't know at the week. When I saw this foul, I thought, well, it's accidental. I can understand why a yellow card wasn't given. I wasn't aware until listening to Dermot Gallagher. I wasn't aware until listening to Keith Hackett. I wasn't aware until my attention being drawn to the fact that if a promising attack is stopped, whether accidental or not, it is a bookable offence. So, for instance, Liverpool got a penalty last year against Bournemouth as they entered, and Liverpool entered into the box. The Bournemouth player was behind the Liverpool attacker. Their legs accidentally clashed. He went over. There was a penalty given. A booking, I believe, was also given, but these things have always been yellows. I can remember as far back as Rafael da Silva being sent off for a second yellow card against Bayern Munich in the Champions League for the exact same situation. And if you watch that footage back, we obviously can't show it for copyright issues. Gibbs White is going to go into the box and have an opportunity to square it to a Nottingham Forest player that's free. That is not denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity, because Gibbs White might have a bad touch, might have a bad cross. It may not even make it to the attacker. But according to the letter of the law, it's a yellow card offence. And I understand why Sean Dyche was angry. And you know what? I know that a lot of City fans do up this whole don't blame the referees, like be the better team. I don't necessarily buy into this. I don't ever think a referee is completely to blame for a team not winning a football match or a team missing 100 chances. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't call out inconsistencies in the refereeing. And of course, had that red card have happened, who knows what the outcome of that game would have been. And that's why I think red card decisions, or in this case, a second yellow that would have led to a red card, are very important, because it's not the same as a penalty not being given or a corner was given, but it shouldn't have been and a team scored from it. That can change momentum. But if Man City in a game that was very close and very even go down to 10 men, maybe the outcome of the game is different. Maybe one of the attackers who was involved in winning the game was off the football pitch from that point. And it must be challenged. The issue is, when you talk about these things, is that teams think you're trying to take something away. Clubs, the fans especially, always act as though you're trying to take something away from them, as opposed to pushing for better refereeing decisions, better behavior from the officials. So for me, it's one that needs to be called out. I think Howard Webb needs to address this. I think he has to come out and explain why this wasn't given. I think feedback has to go into the referee to say, look, just because you're 18 seconds into the second half doesn't mean you shouldn't book the player. Would he have been so lenient if it was a Forest player? The questions all remain. But as ever, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. Do you think Nottingham Forest were robbed in this game? And in turn, maybe, do you think Arsenal were robbed? If you're an Arsenal fan watching, do you think Aston Villa were robbed? All three are in the title race. All three want each other to drop points. Were Manchester City here given an unfair advantage in the game? Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions on that.
The law is clear that there's excessive force. He's run out of the penalty area at speed, right? He's forgotten the ball. What he's going to do is he's going to almost swipe the ball out of play or swipe the man out of play. He goes for the man, and therefore the law says he's endangered the safety of that particular player. Don't mean he's got to put him in hospital, but he's gone close to it. And I think there's a degree of malice in it. He knows exactly what he's going to do. He's got to take that player out. If he doesn't, the player's through on goal. Now, I'm not going to bring denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity into this. This is a straight red card for me on the challenge that the goalkeeper made. He can't do that. He's put at risk the safety of that player. There's no question.
It's a very interesting one there from Keith Hackett, who I do think is one of the better ex-referees who, because he isn't connected to the PGMOL anymore, he speaks honestly about these situations. And again, it's one of those decisions that in real time, I went, yellow card, I get it, didn't deny a goal scoring opportunity, but this is why you should listen to the experts and your opinion should be formed by them and the law, as opposed to what do I want to be the outcome. And watching that again, Yokarez, who's having a tough time, Yokarez, who's under a lot of pressure, Yokarez, who needs to deliver, there's no doubt. As you can clearly see, taken out. The goalkeeper's come a long way. He's lunged. He's put a lot of force into it. The ball's already gone. Doesn't need to make the tackle. The ball's already gone past him. But he has to take the player out, because although it won't be classed as a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity because of the angle and the covering defenders, you know as well as I do, Yokarez is going to get onto that ball, he's going to cut into the box, and there's a very good opportunity that Arsenal score. So therefore, you know that with the excessive force and being late, the tackle in itself is completely deliberate. It isn't an attempt to go for the ball, missing it and catching the player. It's, I'm taking this player out 100%. And I've got to take him out fully, because if I go for a little flick, if I go for a little clip, and I miss, he's still going to run through on goal and maybe end the tie as a contest at that particular moment. So I think it's a really good spot here from Keith Hackett. And I think that we've had a good few weeks actually with referees. I think match week sort of 15 through to 16, 17 was very good. But in the last couple of weeks, we're starting to see the bad decisions come back in, the inconsistencies rise up. And when you're in a very close title race like we're going to see, and none of the decisions today involved Aston Villa, Arsenal directly that cost them points, but actually, it maybe has given City an extra advantage. Maybe if Yokarez gets through and they score a goal, the confidence improves. All these fine margins matter, because you hear all the Standard FC morons talk about inches and every goal helps, every clean sheet helps. Well, of course, I agree to a certain extent. The inches matter when it comes to a title race, but so does very good officiating. There was another decision this weekend as well that a lot of people have asked me to speak about and said, Terry, give us your opinion on the Maatsen handball at Chelsea. And again, I want to be consistent. I want the referees to be consistent. And they keep talking about, is it ball to hand? Has someone moved their arm to block the ball? Is my first thing I look at is, do I think they've done that to block the ball? With Maatsen, no, he didn't. He wasn't looking at the ball, seen it's going to go to Neto and gone, and put his arm out. He hasn't done that. The next question is his arm, and is it in a natural position? And it is. Because what he's trying to do is shield the player. He also thinks, you see him back off, because he thinks his goalkeeper is going to clatter him. putting your arms out to shield, and then you see his body movement go backwards. He's in a completely natural position. He isn't looking at the ball, and it accidentally hits his arm. I've never been a fan of these being given as handballs because I don't believe there's any intent for it to hit your arm. I don't believe you've made your body. I don't think your arm's in a really, really weird position. You could argue that the silhouette of the body is bigger, so you have to throw in that consideration. But it's a bit like the Lisandro Martinez handball or potential handball. He is allowed to push players a little bit. We know that because Hugo Ekitike's goal was given last week, and you are allowed to push each other a little bit. There's no rules on little pushes and nudges. So if you are allowed to push a little bit, that makes your arm in a natural position being out like this. If somebody then kicks the ball that's 2 yards away from me and it hits my arm that's out, it's not in an unnatural position if I'm allowed to push people. Hugo Ekitike, we saw the way he used his arms, not a foul, right? That means his arm's in a natural position because you're allowed to do that on a football pitch. If he heads the ball, somebody boots it clear, but his arm's out and it hits it, it's an accidental handball. If he then controls it, passes it, and somebody scores, great. The only time an accidental handball is classed as handball in the game, as far as I'm aware, is if you directly score with it. So you can't directly score with an arm, whether you mean it or not. Or you can't be the goal scorer if you're an attacker and you're pushing someone slightly, a little nudge, which you're allowed to do. Hugo Ekitike proved it, and the ball shot hits your arm, falls to your feet, and you tap it in. It's no goal. But there is a distinct and very easy to follow law that states that. Outside of it, these are not handballs according to the law. Now, if they change the law, if you want the law changed, that's another debate, another conversation for another day. But as ever, look, I want your views, I want your opinions on this in our comment section below. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you soon. Peace.